So here is the Google slide that I created on media conventions as part of our critical reflection task 1. So first of all, what are media conventions? Conventions are basically the established ways of doing things in a media text. And in our case, the media text is our music video. So the music video conventions would be the things you expect to see within a music video based on the genre of our product. The genre of our product is alternative rock, but I kind of like to think that our narrative section can be interpreted as a thriller because it's got a bit of a murder mystery, there's death and all those themes involved, and it's quite thrilling trying to uncover the truth and all that, that's quite common in a thriller. Additionally, the sort of established way of doing things for conventions and for upcoming bands would involve introducing our band to the audience, selling their star image and creating a following, which we try to do. Representation. So this involves the description or portrayal of someone or something in a particular way. Firstly, the representation sort of themes that we can look at is the female gaze. The term female gaze and male gaze was first coined by Laura Mulvey, and the female gaze is basically looking at how the female viewer would look at our music video revolving around our male protagonist, but more on that in a second. Firstly, I just think it's rather important while I'm here to talk about our band's star image. Our band's star image is anti-establishment and rejects popular culture. We conventionally wanted to represent our band as an alternative, so therefore we have the image of them being anti-authoritarian, rejecting the way things are done and wanting to make their world their own and do it their way. Because we're trying to sell them to an indie audience, this expectation that they reject popular culture is important and must be conveyed. So, going back to the female gaze, the phrase originally came as a female alternative to the phrase the male gaze, coined by Laura Mulvey, and the female gaze looks at 3 points: the individual filming, the characters within the film, and the spectator watching the film. In our music video, having our protagonist and lead singer be a sort of attractive young man, making him more appealing to a female audience, thus allowing for the female viewer to be drawn into our video and focus on the lead singer and his story in both performance and narrative elements. This also really helps in getting the viewer to watch the entire film because they want to know what happens, thus generating more views and allowing our media to become spreadable. In terms of conventions, our lead singer Bodders is represented as the focal point of our band, even though we're also representing our entire band in the star image at the same time. This is similar to the way that Coldplay are presented in popular culture. For example, Chris Martin, who I've highlighted with a lovely purple arrow, is the lead singer. He's kind of presented at the forefront of the band. This is quite obvious in the picture when you see the other 3 band members are kind of cooped up to the side a bit, and Chris Martin's more forward and more visual in the picture. Additionally, if you go onto Google Images and type in Coldplay, a lot of the time it's just pictures of Chris Martin on his own. And just nipping back to representation real quick, I feel it's important while I'm here to point out that we are representing the themes of life and death through the loose funeral setting of our music video, which is created by implementing a conventional performance setting involving a glowing cross and having our band members dressed in funeral attire. The camera work of our music video is used to present our whole band, but focus specifically on our protagonist and lead singer, drawing the consumer eye to him, but also allowing him to still take in the other band members. We also use direct address to the audience and have our lead singer connect to the audience using that convention. And just while we're talking about close-ups and having our lead singer connect to the audience, obviously lip syncing became vital. Now, as we know, we are making a music video not with our actual artist. We have an actor pretending to be an artist. So lip syncing had to be a success, it just had to go well. So we asked our lead singer to actually sing the words to the song out loud on the shoot day. Obviously none of that audio was picked up, but it was to ensure that it looks realistic and like he's actually singing and everything. And this method, interestingly, is actually used for some professional singers. When spending several days shooting a high-budget music video, the singer would not be required to sing the song full-time every time they shoot. It just wouldn't work, they'd damage their voice, and the audio from then singing on shoot day wouldn't actually be recorded, so it was unnecessary for them to do it. So the track will be played so they can sing along like it was with us, but the actual audio for the video will be from what's recorded in a studio. So on the day, a professional singer would probably sing along, actually making a noise, so again it looks realistic, but they wouldn't be doing it full out or anything. Direct address is so important in a music video. It's a convention used in several genres of music in order to create a connection. So our singer uses this, as does Adam Levine in Maroon 5. Using that convention is important to connect to their respective audiences and establish a following. Richard Dye states that all close-ups help to sell the star image, whatever the genre, like Kylie Minogue in her music video for Can't Get You Out of My Head. This is a convention used in all genres of music, and it's always about establishing that connection, which we aim to do. So, subverting conventions. In our music video, we subvert, that is to undermine an established power or method, and basically turn the convention on its head. We use a high-angle shot of our lead singer. Now, this is unusual because high-angle shots can make the subject appear vulnerable or powerless, which is not often the go-to choice of how a star would be represented in their video, but we wanted to do this to get that theme of life and death, and obviously this is a high angle, on the other side is the cross, so it's to prove that he is vulnerable or powerless in the face of religion or a higher power. Again, open to interpretation, common in most music videos. Something that's unconventional to a music video such as ours is that our opening shot is not a wide shot. Now, this is a strange editing tool, but we instead start with a shot of the drums, and this is done because an organic alternative band, we felt it unnecessary for them to be super big on selling themselves to an audience. The narrative elements of our video are sprinkled in amongst performance sections of our music video, and it's done to create variation in the video and keep the audience watching. And of course, sprinkling in elements of narrative into our performance video is unconventional, and it's also unconventional to use narrative and performance elements for indie bands anyway. It's something normally done by pop bands, but we wanted to do this to further the female gaze of our music video, attaching the audience to our protagonist/lead singer Bodders. And here is just an example of editing and how we went from the narrative to the performance, to the narrative, to the performance, and then back to the narrative. Now, going on to specific editing techniques, we use slow motion effects, and this is a common convention used because it slows down all the action taking place in the video at certain points, and it just gives consumers the time to relax and take in all the shots and the video as a whole using variation techniques. And we use low-key lighting. This gives the grungy, smoky effect required for our video, and it's actually a similar convention used in Buffy Clyro's video for Black Chandelier. They use the same blue, steel, grey-back lighting and the set colours as we do, and this just gives an example of how this convention is used in similar genres. In the narrative section of the music video, the colouring is more blue, emphasising the clinical lighting, those awful strip lights of an autopsy. It also makes our protagonist appear more pale and deathly, like he's died. It's a common convention often used in alternative rock because it allows our video to appear depressing in nature using colours to alter the emotion felt by the audience watching the video. Some of our shots are cut to the beat, but we avoid doing this with all of them, otherwise the video would become rather predictable. It's an example of using Andrew Goodwin's convention of cutting to the beat, exemplifying the relationship between the music and the video, while simultaneously subverting that same convention by cutting some shots off the beat to avoid predictability and keep the video interesting. That's what we want. The repetition of shots is a common convention used in music videos, but of course only in a small quantity. Repeating shots is done to allow the audience to see anything that they may have missed the first time, but it can't be done too often, otherwise the audience will start to switch off and not pay attention. It's important to remember that audiences have a limited attention span, and they must be given new visuals to appreciate and keep watching. So, if we're going to mise en scène, we're going to have a quick look at costuming. We conventionally dressed our band, as a funeral band. Our female band members were in black dresses with fascinators, as you can just about see in this picture on the left, and our male characters were in white shirts with black trousers. And this is a convention similarly used in a lot of Arctic Monkeys music videos. We did this because we were furthering the theme of the life and death, and it also created a good link to the cross. We used guitars, basses, keyboards, and a drum kit for our instrumentation. This is because we wanted to have elements of live performance in our video. Live performance is a convention used frequently in alternative rock bands. Because they reject popular culture, it's all about the music they're creating. So, the digipack. We'll start with the title slide. The title is positioned in the centre top of the album cover. As you can see, it's similar to this album by the Arctic Monkeys. Both albums subvert the typical convention that the titles of albums must be the absolute focal point of the album. Instead, they use artwork to attract the audience. Moving on to font, we used a typewriter font called Source Code Variable. We chose this because it looks indie, similar to Joy Division albums Closer. We used the font for the title and for the slogan, Everything is Fine.
The Digipack first page, it's all about introducing our band to the public. It's shot from a low angle whilst emphasising the whole band, similar to Let It Be by The Replacements. You can see they both have a dark setting. Of course, ours is darker, but they both have a subdued colour palette. The middle page of the Digipack, we used a picture from a photo shoot we held to have another picture of the band. The reason this picture's on the inside of the album instead of on the cover is because this picture doesn't focus on all band members equally. So we still use the picture because it's conventional and it's dark theme, but it's not on the front cover because it's unconventional to leave some band members, such as our bass player, more or less out of the picture. And our typewriter font creates an overall loose vintage theme, as you can see. Moving on to the back page of the Digipack, we centered the font and numbers the tracks with shady grey at the top. We included the record company Cuddle Puddle with their email. We added the copyright and the rights of the record company at the bottom, as you can see, because that's the convention with similar Digipacks. Got a barcode from Google Images, and that was placed in the bottom right corner. And we kept the back page of our Digipack completely black because the main colours of our band's website are grey and black, so adding any more colour would have been unnecessary. The spine of the Digipack is kept simple with just the title of our band running down the side of the album, and the logo of our record company Cuddle Puddle positioned at the bottom.
Now, the website homepage. Of course, a big thing was the website was creating that link between the website, the music video, and the Digipack. So firstly, I adopted a grey colour palette, which was used on other websites similar to our artists, such as Coldplay's current website. And the page incorporates a time-lapse of grey clouds, which gives a loose link to grey and the title of our solo, Shady Grey. Having a merchandise page is also very important for a new and upcoming band because 90% of a band's revenue comes from the merchandise they sell rather than the music they put out. So, it's got to be very important for the merchandise page to be accessible to consumers, which is why just by scrolling down on the website, you can find it. The track listing is also there to allow our solo to be as accessible to consumers as possible, meaning they can play the track for free, because we're relying on our revenue from the merchandise. And also when you're an up-and-coming band, you don't really have time to, charge people to listen to your music. It would be great if they listened to it anyway. Now, a key point of the website is website traffic. The longer that consumers spend on our website, the better it is for our band because it generates key website traffic. Watching the YouTube link to our video, for example, is not only going to increase the time you spend on the website, but will simultaneously generate views on our YouTube channel. This convention is used on all bands' websites to become accessible to the consumer as possible, all about promotion of their stuff. It's also a perfect example of synergy of technology, but we'll go into technology in another little reflection video, don't you worry. Additionally, a section of our website that I created has our band's tour dates. It's key to give our artists the opportunity to advertise where they will be performing to their potential fans, and it's also a free method of advertisement. As you can see, this convention is also used by the band Deaf Haven on their official website, which I have highlighted both with lovely purple arrows. If you can see that they are very similar in getting the Notify Me or the RSVP buttons to make it very easy to book a concert, come and see your band live. We use a range of different photos on the website. It's key to presenting our band in a different light while keeping the overall genre the same and selling that star image. A short biography is key for our organic band to communicate with our band on a personal level. So I've attached some pictures of our bassist and our guitarist sitting and chilling and looking quite cool, as well as doing a biography and a solo picture of just our lead singer Bodders. Overall, my website and Digipack, the main aim was to use conventions from other independent artists, websites and Digipacks, and this was in order to represent the star image of our band. The use of the dark colours is symbolic of deep and alternative music, such as artists like Panic at the Discos and 30 Seconds to Mars. Discos. Panic at the Disco. I'm just reflecting on what I just said. It's Panic at the Disco and 30 Seconds of Mars. Whilst featuring an emphasis on the singer, it's also quite essential that he's the focal point of the band, even though they're alternative and are trying to get across a star image. And I feel that this is reflected in the choice of font, with an emphasis on the band being in a typewriter font across both products. Which is again selling the image of the band as being indie. However, it is still somewhat conventional, as all bands will feature their name somewhere on the cover. Although we kept the website minimal, this is also conventional for new bands who do not have a lot to promote and have not been around long enough to generate a huge amount of publicity. Therefore, the website can be viewed as something that's fluid and will develop over time and gain more reviews, merchandise and tour dates as the band becomes more and more well known. Thank you so much. Peace out. That's everything I have to say on that. I hope you enjoyed.